DIY.
DIYers, at the recording of this, we are now 1 week away, at least 1 week past, since Kendrick Lamar had, to me, the most epic Super Bowl performance. First of all, round of applause for him. We're going to start that off like that. I don't know how many times you've watched it. Admittedly so, I've watched it more times than I want to admit. Mostly for research, mostly for enjoyment, and it's something new that I pick up every single time. And it just baffles me that I could sit there. Me and my wife are sitting there watching this, and she's a Kendrick and Drake fan. We can watch this and be in amazement of, look at the execution something like this takes. You don't get an opportunity to make an error in light of, I'm sure there were some audio issues that happened. You don't really get a chance. The execution is the thing I think that impresses me the most. But yet, just like with any other topic, especially one where people are showing a lot of love, it's almost like people get threatened by that and feel a need to try to bring it down. Now, before I get into some of the naysayers, actually, let's start with the naysayer. Let's start with that. This is the guy that's on the thumbnail right now. A guy named Rod Schmidt. Ain't always a nigga named Rod Schmidt. He had some really discouraging things to say about the performance. And these talking points, don't let them get you angry. They're gonna sound very familiar. It's gonna sound like something we've heard before. And he's on a news network I've never heard of, called Newsmax. What kind of Walmart shit is that? Newsmax. It kind of feels like a Dollar Tree Fox News. I've never heard of it. Excuse my ignorance. Never heard of it. But he basically went on the record this last week as saying that he thought it was one of the worst Super Bowl performances of all time. Really? Okay, let him get his shit off.
Last night, the NFL gave us unquestionably the worst halftime show we have ever seen.
You guys see this news anchor, Rob Schmidt, who said that the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show was the worst one ever? Rob, you're aging yourself. What, you don't remember the 1991 Super Bowl halftime show?
I don't remember that one. Who's that?
Featuring the New Kids on the Block?
I just know you lying.
Oh, baby, you're always on my mind.
Now, that was terrible. No, it feels like...
Was that Disney there? These niggas handed the Super Bowl over to Disney. I just know you lying.
This is about something else, Rob. What could it be?
A tiny rapper in bell bottoms who 98%.
Okay, that's this nigga shooting. This nigga shooting. Dot, I need you to say something back. Tiny rapper in bell bottoms. Who wrote that? It wasn't Drake.
Of the country has never heard of.
What's the matter with bell bottoms? Lainey Wilson wears bell bottoms. Are you mocking her? And the fact that you've never heard of him, I mean, the Grammy folks have heard of him because he's won 22 of those. The
Clock it.
Emmy folks have heard of him because he's won an Emmy too.
Clock
in fact, the Pulitzer Prize folks have heard of him because he's won a Pulitzer Prize as well. What?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And it's funny because it sounds like he's trying to appeal to a contrarian young audience that always says things when somebody passes away. Who? Which is probably one of the most insensitive things you can say when somebody's child has passed away, when a hip-hop platform is posting in honor of somebody's life. Imagine you being so self-centered and so narcissistic that you need to make it about who you know. And that's the relevance to this post. You say, who? Who? Imagine that. It seems like he's really appealing to that contrarian audience. With that said, let's keep it going.
What have you won, Rob? No, it feels like this is really about something else.
Was allowed to play most of his largely unknown catalog for 20 grueling minutes in front of the entire world.
20 grueling minutes? What happened to journalism being journalism? You don't get 20 minutes. Ain't nobody ever had 20 minutes. What? Was you watching it in slow motion? This boy's stupid.
It was actually just 13 minutes.
Clock it.
Maybe you were told there'd be no math. Rob, what are you getting at?
The whole world just sat and wondered why they...
The whole world? Don't have me pull up these cruise ship videos. Don't have me pull up these LA block party videos. Don't have me pull up these fan videos from Philadelphia of all these black folks and all of these white families too who were celebrating the Super Bowl, dancing. What? I seen an old white lady that thought that Samuel L. Jackson was Denzel, and she was flustered. All the world? These niggas is writing fan fiction.
We're watching this. Who is this? Everybody asked.
Maybe the world's greatest tennis player ever, Serena Williams, knew when she danced up there on stage with him. The Grammy people knew when they gave him 7 awards just a week or so ago. Oh, Rob, this feels like it's about something else.
Last night, the NFL gave
Oh boy, yeah. So that's merely one person, but if you look all around the internet, man, you see a lot of that. But let's go to his point. I want to get this really quick out the way. I think that people really forgot what the Super Bowl performances were all about. Right? There was a point in time that I, as a fan of just watching football and me being a person that makes music, I'd watch, and that'd be my least favorite part of the game. Is the Super Bowl show. It'd be overly produced. It would be sometimes lip syncing lyrics. The choreo, everything would just be cheesy. It would be like, this is not even what you would get if you saw these folks live. This person made a video 11 months ago about the 8 worst Super Bowl halftime shows. I just want to give you a little bit of contrast before people start making these wild ass claims that this is the worst they've ever seen. Let's go down the line a little bit.
Heading into Super Bowl 45, the Black Eyed Peas took the stage as headliners, and their actual voices pierced through the mics in a performance that visually looked great, but sounded like an experience you would find at a karaoke bar.
You don't even know how privileged y'all was this year, do you? Damn.
This beat go boom, boom, back to the future, Cybertron. Harder, faster, better, strong.
There were consistent audio issues throughout the performance, but this was far from the viewers' biggest issue with the show. On top of the audio issues, many critics ultimately saw the performance as uninspiring. Many believe that the Black Eyed Peas' catalog of hits did not translate well to a live setting.
Did you just say that the Black Eyed Peas' catalog of hits, the group that is known for making hits, didn't translate well to a live setting? What bar are you trying to set for Kendrick Lamar then?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Wait a minute, you mean to tell me a group that makes hits for a living? People know them for their hits and not their deep catalog, even though they have a rich LA history, especially will.i.am. You trying to tell me what they did their hits? People wrote in the newspaper, the SB Nation Dallas said, it didn't translate to a live setting whatsoever. Interesting. But he should have did his hits, right? He should have did his hits.
Slash, the famed guitarist from Guns N' Roses, rose through the smoky stage and played a solo with Fergie, awkwardly decided to be a walking meme, approaching Slash and dancing while singing at his side.
Not to mention the songs that they wanted Kendrick to do. They wanted him to do songs like All Right. Did you know that he did All Right at the last Super Bowl he was at with Snoop and Dre?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Oh, you forgot about that, huh? You remember when he popped out the box and it was the West Coast? You know he also did Good Kid, Mad City? So it's almost like, especially if I think about in the sense of he performed 7 out of 10 songs that he owned the master recordings to this year, right? Which is great for his catalog. It's great for the business of PG Lang and the future business of different artists like Baby Keem that he works with. He brought something home to the team, to the new team. But he also didn't leave TDE empty-handed when he gave their songs that they owned the master recordings to a surge in streams by doing it at the other Super Bowl. He gave everybody something. But he didn't do his hits. What was you watching that year? Damn it, revisionist history is whooping y'all ass. It's crazy. People I saw on the timeline, they were really concerned with the use of imagery when it came to the American flag, right? And how there was no white representation. That's what that same reporter said actually in a full video. How it's the first Super Bowl where it was monochromic is what he said. I don't even want to play the original video. The original video gonna piss you off. But it was still a very artistic piece of work. Has there ever been anybody who's ever done anything with the American flag that they would champion that they didn't like? Enter Kid Rock.
So, during Kid Rock's performance, he wore a poncho made from an American flag. This drew criticism from U.S. Senator Zell Miller, who said, "The thing that yanked my chain the hardest was seeing this ignoramus with his pointed head stuck up through the hole he had cut in the flag of the United States, yelling about having a bottle of scotch and watching lots of crotch. This is the same flag we pledge allegiance to, the same flag that is draped over the coffins of dead, young, uniformed warriors killed while protecting Kid Rock's bony butt." As you see, the show was extremely problematic.
Let me go back to that. Anytime somebody in power that happens to be Caucasian says the thing that yanked my chain, you in trouble. He said, you know the thing that yanked my chain? The hardest was seeing this ignoramus with his pointed head stuck up through the hole he had cut into the flag of the United States. Kendrick didn't denigrate the flag. He showed you bodies that represented the origin of the United States of America. Whether you want to see that as slaves or folks that helped build this country, he didn't denigrate the flag. He had an artistic performance that showed what the viewpoints of different Americans, specifically black Americans, may be when it came to the relationship of the flag, but he didn't disrespect it. Meanwhile, this motherfucker right here is yelling about having scotch around his crotch while he cuts a hole in the flag and makes a poncho out of it. What did you want Kendrick to do? We're not done here. Remember he mentioned that New Kids on the Block halftime show? Remember how he's trying to say Kendrick got the worst one of all time? I don't think they know what they talking about.
Super Bowl 25, the NFL gave the stage to Disney to produce the halftime show. The performance was all right, considering most of the performers were children. Donnie Wahlberg and his New Kids on the Block were chosen to be the headlining act, and they were joined by Houston Oilers quarterback Warren Moon and a children's choir.
This what y'all wanted? This what so much y'all want? This what so much y'all wanted? You want to bring this? You want to bring this back? You want to bring this back? You want to bring this back? You want to bring this to New Orleans? You want to bring this back? Okay.
In an attempt to fit the theme of the show, the New Kids on the Block were forced to pass over some of their well-known songs and instead...
What do you mean pass on their well-known songs? Why would they do that? You mean a Super Bowl performance where they passed on their well-known songs? Kendrick's not the first one?
Perform more of their sappier hits. Donnie wasn't thrilled about this, but he was a good sport. While Mickey Mouse and the kids impressed with all their organizational choreography, viewers at home could not see it until the Super Bowl ended. Rather,
they couldn't even see the Super Bowl they couldn't see this halftime show until the Super Bowl was ended.
Then broadcasting the performance, ABC instead chose to run an update report on the Gulf War. Donnie Wahlberg was quoted as saying, "Afterward, we found out it didn't air during the game. It had been preempted. George H. Bush made a speech. We all breathed a sigh of relief, and it felt appropriate. Felt more fitting that George Bush made a speech during halftime than this small world Disney thing."
You don't know how good you have it. Let's take Kendrick's name out of this for just a second and let's just recognize, first of all, a rapper. Some of you who are participants or wannabe participants in the culture of hip hop, these are moments you're supposed to celebrate, regardless of what your personal issues may be with the choice. Rap is being represented at the halftime show. New Kids on the Block didn't even get a chance to get their show aired until after the Super Bowl. A rapper is up there headlining, rapping the entire way, not half-ass singing with auto-tune on. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But he's rapping. And all you can think is the pain points you brought up. It's insane to me, but this is why I think folks like myself exist. We got to keep having these conversations. Man, and let's get over here. So shout out to my folks over at The Bigger Picture. Of course, the homie DJ Head, Jeremy Hecht, and of course, Elliot Wilson. Let's explain why some of this hate is happening. I think the gentleman that responded back to Rob Schmidt did a really good job, but I think it's more nuanced. I think there's more to it. I got my opinions, but I think Jeremy and DJ Head really break it down in this segment of their latest episode. Peep this out.
And the other point too is when you talk about leadership, like we were having this convo off air of, I think it was Hitmaker was talking about how when Drake was the leader of hip hop and he was the top guy in the game, people followed melodically, right? The sound followed where Drake was going. People needed a melody. People needed it to sound sonically a certain way to have a hit. And people followed. Producers followed, writers followed, rappers followed. Now that Kendrick Lamar is the leader of hip hop right now, I think people will follow, but it's not sonically. It's not necessarily like, we'll get some West Coast sounding stuff, but where Kendrick is a leader and I think it's going to impact is having a message, standing for something, making people think, and having layers to your music. And that will showcase in the upcoming artists that will be inspired by Kendrick. This performance to me wasn't just about showcasing his career. It wasn't about showcasing his talent. It was about having these conversations and doing it in a way that wasn't going to be weaponized by the right, weaponized by the left, utilized as like, oh, look at Kendrick. There's people who were confused. There's people like, wait, this is patriotic. There's people like, he's just loving all of America and he loves the way it is. Look at the flag. And they don't realize that the flag that he's using is built on the backs of Black Americans, just like America.
To your point, Jeremy, I want to add one more thing to your point. I thought this was really dope. We're going to go back to that video, but I thought this was awesome to see. When you're talking about what do you win if you get the performance that you wanted? Let's say the people who are criticizing say we want a Drake performance. And this is not even trying to dogpile on Drake. He's doing a great job of that by himself. But let's say you did get that performance and he did all the hits. You smiled. You sang the songs. What's the result of that, right? There's a cause and there's an effect. Well, I saw this from this teacher here that is showing me what some of the cause is from what we did get to see, which is Kendrick performing. Eastnash.teacher. And this is another reason why I cannot paint this whole situation as merely black and white. I think now more than ever, I'm seeing a lot of white allies show up in ways and with a nuance I've never seen before. In my lifetime, in my 40 years, I've never seen it before. I've had racist teachers growing up. I've lived in places where I was the only one in there, right? I've lived in places where it was the majority of us and the teacher didn't know how to talk to us at Curtis Middle School. This is interesting to see because I wish they would have took the time to at least participate and care enough in the culture to do something like this. Peep what this school teacher did.
And let me tell you, Kendrick Lamar's performance wasn't just a halftime show, it was literature. The symbolism, the figurative language, the imagery, unbelievable. And on top of it, his very intentional choices, including his decision to perform deep cuts when he could have easily leaned into some of his more popular songs or songs with guest verses by Beyonce, Taylor Swift, J. Cole. When I tell you every single second of that performance was thoughtfully considered and planned, every word, every move had purpose. And beyond that, Kendrick's ability to send a powerful political message while simultaneously addressing his beef with Drake and delivering an entertaining performance, freaking genius. And honestly, I think he knew a lot of people watching wouldn't understand or like his performance, and that's just another layer of its complexity and genius. The bar isn't just high now, it's in another stratosphere. We witnessed history, and I don't think we even realize how much yet. Kendrick didn't just perform at the Super Bowl, he turned it into theater, into art, into a moment. And as someone who analyzes text for a living, this was a masterclass.
Do you see why that's more important than, I just didn't feel it? He didn't do his hit songs. You see why that might be more important? When the average, Afro Butterfly, the average reading level is at a third grade level, can you see after a post-pandemic world why we don't just need to get the party lit? Do you see why these kids need something more? And you know what's crazy? People make the argument of, well, why does it have to be off the backs of a diss song? They only care about the diss song. They only care about the diss song. The only reason he's even up there is because of that diss song. Okay. I'm going to give you this example. When you're at a professional sporting event, let's say a football game, and a team is down by a few points, and then all of a sudden they play, we will rock you. Does anybody ever stop and say, well, the only reason that team won is because they played that song. Had it not been for that song, the team wouldn't have won the game. Completely ignoring the amount of training that goes beforehand, completely ignoring what the team did before that particular moment. Does anybody look at that and say, oh, that's the only reason that they won is because of that song? Here's the truth of the matter. In order to get a message to an audience full of zombies, you have to give the zombies flesh. Or you have to, let's just say not flesh. That's weird. Let's say a brownie. You have to give them their vitamins through a brownie so they can stop being zombies. There are malnourished zombies out here who have only been given entertainment to pacify them. I make music that electrifies them. You make music that pacifies them. You don't learn from that. You don't learn from that. You get entertained by that. Put the vitamin inside the brownie. Guess what the brownie was? The brownie was these diss songs. It took this moment to shake people out of their zombie state and care about something. Who gives a shit? If not like us, was the way that they started to care. I'm going to show you a young dude who was a Kendrick hater. And he listened to Good Kid, Mad City the other day for the first time. That man started crying. We're going to get to that, though. Let's get back to this video because Head hasn't made his point quite yet, and Jeremy is absolutely cooking. I just want to segue really quick because I thought that was important.
They don't realize that like Samuel Jackson. I love Samuel Jackson. This is amazing.
Actor.
They don't realize that he's telling Kendrick, stay in line, perform what they want.
Coon.
Dance for the people. And so I think the fact that that's happening, we're having conversations that we wouldn't have based on anyone else performing at the Super Bowl. My grandma's texting me like, hey, I would love for you to explain the symbolism in Kendrick Lamar's performance to me. Like, I don't think my grandma would be texting me after the Weeknd's performance anything besides, oh, he was good. And no shot to the Weeknd, you know? So like, I think Kendrick doing what he did is good for the game. It's good for hip hop. And I think it's also good for American conversation.
I also think that there's a duality to it from a perspective of people criticizing who just don't fuck with us.
So you say that you keep saying that. So do you think the part of not understanding sort of this more West Coast version of Kendrick is because there's also just that separation of how we view West Coast artists and culture?
100%. Because they don't fuck with it. It's egregious how much he's leaning in, and it's like we didn't like him for that.
Yeah,
we liked him because he was like us. We didn't fall in love.
We didn't
with
give that guy the Pulitzer Prize.
Correct. Exactly.
Yikes.
He talking about sliding, and he, you know what I'm saying? Like he sound
Too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Isn't that what Uncle Sam said? Oh no, Kendrick done brought the hood to the Super Bowl and made it look artistic. How dare him? We just want to be entertained, man. Come on, man. I'm drunk. Entertain me. You ever think that's part of the problem, too?
just like them now. Well, surprise, he's been one of us the whole time. Yeah. I think that people don't like that. There are individuals who I've heard say egregious things about our culture. People in power, people in real positions. Like, I'm not gonna say their names because y'all fuck with them, but I've heard these people say things and
big academics. I'm just playing.
And it's immensely disrespectful to things that they say, where they don't even understand that they offended anyone. It wasn't like, oh, I have malicious intent to what I'm saying. The mentality is flawed in a way that they think that what they said is okay. So now we come to a point where here's a guy who has been doing the thing the whole time, giving us messaging, giving us electrifying music, giving us messaging, giving us positivity, giving us the empowerment pieces and stuff like that. But then as soon as he's like, no, but I'm this too, it's like, well, hold on. We don't like that.
What are you on?
What's going on?
And it's so dope that he chose this moment to do it.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
You think about the way that the battle played out and the way that he broke down his opponent, right? You think about how Euphoria came, and it was, I always explain it as being like, you know, a breakdown of his opponent's character, and him telling you, I know this guy so well. I've seen his type so many times. I know what he's going to do. Watch how he does. Also, let me draw your attention to this and how he acts like this, and look at him next to to Sexy Red, and he sees two bad bitches. And then you got the 616 in LA, which was, I think, it's going to go down as a prayer before wartime, right? Forgive me for the things I'm getting ready to do because it's about to get ugly. Then you get a Meet the Grams that is just a dissection of not only your opponent, but of the family as well, and their parts that they play in the person that he's become, the monster he's become. And then you get Not Like Us, which to me, it feels like what people don't understand, especially my homie used to say that. Shout out to my guy, Masewal. Used to be really heavy into Chicano studies and whatnot. He used to tell me, he said, you know what? Because he'd call me Panther. He said, you know what, Panther? People forget that, this is in high school. He said, people forget, even the revolution had barbecue cookouts. Even they had times where I know the movies make it seem like they was all on go and it was always about the revolution, and it was, but there was times that you had your cookouts. You had your times of celebration. When I listen to Not Like Us, it sounds like the theme song to that cookout. It sounds like the theme song to a revolution of taking back a culture and putting it back in the hands, not of the dressed up version of us, not of the acceptable version that America will say is okay, but our authentic selves from where we're from. From where we're from and how we talk and how we are when the camera's off. He brought that at the biggest moment of his career when he could have given this. There's probably an argument that would have made more money. He chose art. He chose art. And I'm not looking at this situation as some kind of savior complex. I look at that and I say, that is a choice, ladies and gentlemen. That's still a choice. Did he make a lot of money as a result? Hell yes, he did. But that's still a choice to go this route. And I love that he did not do the thing, because I'm pretty sure his folks from the city, from Compton, would have been like, we proud of you no matter what, because we was already proud of you. But he chose to bring that imagery. He chose to make a statement right there in front of the current sitting president. I don't know. I kind of rather that than Katy Perry dancing with fucking sharks offbeat.
You got all these niggas out here on the field, nothing but niggas.
Jumping out of cars.
Like, all these.
Where did they even come from in that?
You know what I'm saying? And it's choreography and it's turf. You got the Bay in there. You got and it's aggressive and stuff like that. It's like, well, that's not who we
marching.
That's not who we wanted. Like we wanted the person, which is the purpose of the Sam Jack shit.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, stay in line, stay in your lane. Don't get out of pocket. You know why you here. You know what the people want. Nah, that's what makes and I think low key, he could have did the performance without the Sam Jack piece, but it would have went over everybody's head as opposed to just some.
Yeah.
It still went over people's head with a fucking narrator.
And they're
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
It
tell it.
still went over their head, even with a narrator. Afro Butterfly. 3rd grade reading level. It went over their head with a narrator. Forget the reading comprehension levels, right? Let's just talk about, because of the training, that the type of music that people have been under the spell of has done on them, they are repeating mantras from people who are not really living. They're not really winning in real life. A lot of these folks are signed to somebody that is signed to somebody that is signed to somebody. And when they eventually fall off, you'll never know that was the situation the whole time. They just made it look good for you on camera. Why? Because the more they make it look good on camera for you, the more money you spend with them at shows and merchandise. Why? Because you think this person got it. This is somebody you aspire to be like, only to find out 20 years from now on a podcast, they were getting dick down in their deals, disrespected in their deals, slapped left and right in a way that you would never expect somebody who's a quote unquote aggressive gangster rapper. You'll find out in 20 years. Remember, I told you this. 20 years, you'll find out in all the podcasts how all of these names that you think are the examples of leaders were actually followers who were loud enough to look like leaders. Yeah. What a narrator.
Are literally using the same criticism of the performance that Samuel Jackson gives you.
He's chastising them in real time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is why, going back to the previous episode of The Bigger Picture, where I said,
a classic.
I'm not smart enough, right? Because the idea I pitched for the Not Like Us, I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough. I mean, human beings, I always call people stupid, but human beings are so stupid that Samuel L. Jackson is narrating something that you still don't understand.
Yes.
Which is why it's funny when I see people in the comments being specialists on how to market something, and these niggas ain't got more than 10 followers. What you know about marketing?
Tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I might hurt somebody that I wasn't intended to, but I'm pointing this at a very specific person. Please move out the way when I say this. You got 10 to 20 followers. Nigga, what you know about marketing? You got a grainy, goofy ass looking camera or photo. What you know about branding? I don't know. I just feel. And that's the problem. You operate off of your feelings, and you got a low emotional IQ. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Everybody turns into music marketing fucking geniuses because they listen to their favorite rapper, and I've supported them since day one. What do you know about marketing? I hate to quote this man, but Lady Gaga, what the fuck do you know about cameras? What do you know about Polaroids? That's how I feel about some of y'all that get here talking about record sales and the relevance of an artist. Why are you not employed by a label? Why are you on Twitter? I'm sorry. You can get back in the way. I wasn't talking to y'all. I was talking to somebody, some people specifically, who jump in the comments and they like know everything about what he should have did. Nigga, you haven't even performed at your high school football game. The fuck you know about a Super Bowl? I'm sorry. I'm cussing on Sunday, Mama. I'm sorry.
That means to me that you don't want to understand.
Or it's not for you to understand.
Or you fucking, there you go. It's not for you to understand. And that's cool too. But the way I look at it, because the theme is obviously it's set up like a controller, right? Dot play video games. Oh my God, Dot play video games? Yes, nigga. Fuck. You know what I'm saying?
This is where I keep saying the hate is being forced. The hate is being platformed. It's being amplified. There's a lot of love out here. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of folks like me out here that are making sure that we are amplifying the positive things. And we plan on doing even more of that throughout this video. But there's a lot of people who are using this moment and they're rushing to it. It's one thing to have a critical, constructive feedback that you have concluded from watching it. Cool. Do you all day. There's another thing to be on a campaign to get ahead of all the love, to say, hey, wait. Hey. That's not a hit. Hey. That's not a hit. To me, this shows that you have different motivations. You have a different motivation, different motive. It's not what you say, but why do you feel like you need to say it right now? And why do you want me to hear it if I didn't even ask you to? If it's unsolicited, why? Seems like you're trying to push a narrative. Continue cooking, though, gentlemen.
He's a human being?
Don't you play video games?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. He got a kid. Like, why the fuck would he not play video games? Okay. Field set up like a controller. Bet. Now, the whole point is starting the game, right? Wrong way. Whatever the
warning, wrong way, yeah.
Warning, wrong way. Then game over at the end. All that kind of stuff, right? They think, oh, it's just Drake, and it's like you won't understand this because one, what Dot did was deliver a black experience to mainstream white America.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And to believe there are actual black folks right now that say that they're championing hip-hop culture, that think that their hot take about what songs he performed is more important than the statement that was made. To think that the majority of people that I see in my mentions happen to be my own folks. And I know the saying, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, but it's just, it's sometimes heartbreaking to see. But then you realize, like, that's how it's always been. It was like that when it was in the era of the Black Panthers. It was like that in the era of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. It was folks trying to divide them from having any kind of contact with each other. This is part of it's going to always be that. I always think back to the folks that, did live through the civil rights movements and the folks that, I wonder how many of them didn't say anything, and I'm not trying to shame them, but how many of them didn't say anything during that time when it was at the height of it because they feared losing their job or their social status or their friends. And I think those folks had to have gotten older and then produced kids who are not troublemakers, people who refuse to. But then there's the offspring of the people who were quote unquote troublemakers that produce folks like me.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I'm just saying. But it's very unfortunate to see so many black folks being the ones that are going to be the mouthpieces that tell you why this is not American, why this is so anti whatever they're pushing. It's unfortunate, but then it's also, if you know your history, you're like, oh, they've always existed. It's just unfortunate now that it's the 2 for 2, and that it's an experience happening at a very crucial time in our history, in our hip hop history, but also it happens to be one of my favorite artists and somebody that I feel lucky enough to call a friend of mine. It's just insane when I see this. It's insane when I see this.
Second part is he delivered a black experience from our perspective, which you guys have never gotten nor gave a fuck about. That perspective is being presented on a global scale, and it's egregious to people because they're like, I don't want this. I want this. I want this other stuff. I want to see him at the Louvre with a crown on and this. I don't want to see him with a backwards hat on and like, I don't want to see him in that like with a chain on. He doesn't wear jewelry.
I'll say it for you. I didn't think you was like one of them niggas, Kendrick. I thought you was one of the good niggas. I'll say it. My platform ain't on Hip Hop DX. I thought you was one of the good niggas. Come to find out you one of them ghetto ones. Damn, I thought you had grown out of that. Saw you at the fashion runway in Paris. I thought you was away from that ghetto shit, man. I heard Mr. Morale, man. I was good, man. You went and got therapy. I thought you was over that. Wow. Am I off?
You think he ain't got no pieces? That's what you think?
It's quite an expensive chain there.
You think he ain't got no pieces because he don't wear like
he's blinging.
It's just so mind blowing to me, and how often I get proven that people are ignorantly stupid, and that's okay. But it's just, to me, it's like, damn. All you have to do is
Look
really
at them diamonds dancing. Look at them diamonds dancing.
All you have to do is pay attention. Sam narrates you through the whole thing. Okay, you don't understand that? Oh, it's all about Drake. Okay, so how is it about Drake when the shit kicks off? All of the people are coming out the GNX, right? Then you get all of the dancers. Then you get the American flag. Then he's standing in the middle. You see the flag being separated, right? Oh, it's built on the back of whatever, right? Even the way the flag goes up, right? So you can see it, right?
Yeah.
So then now you have a visual representation of what America looks like. But then you have this black person. You have all these black people being represented, right? Then you go from there to, shout out to Alec. Then you go from there to
such a great shot.
To the dudes on the street corner, right? You got the light post.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you get that look. Then nobody even caught this. When they go wide and you see all the people, I saw some idiot online say that when the people were all laying down, it was like swastikas.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy. Swastikas? That's true.
So yeah, the foil brain folks, I got to it, and we're trying to find the hate and what's going on there. The fact that we're having conversations about culture, we're having conversations about art is beautiful in itself. Here's the thing I think that I caught because I felt the energy, and I've been around this energy all my life. Let's talk about the Drake moment at the end. Let's talk about Not Like Us. Do you know how West Coast it is? When I think about like the beef that Mac 10 Ice Cube once had with Common, West Coast beef is very direct. It's always been traditionally very direct. When I think about Ice Cube, No Vaseline, West Coast beef is very direct. It hasn't been traditionally cerebral. It's been very direct. It's been very like, I'll mark this nigga out. I saw within Kendrick's energy on Not Like Us, at the end of that, you got West Coast aggression and West Coast gangster. He said, these niggas think I ain't finna mark his ass out at the Super Bowl? Say Drake. He marked his ass out. That's West Coast, LA-based culture. You know how many OGs would have got on his head if this is a real life scenario? A real life scenario where you're supposed to stand on business, like they like to say. And in the person that you have these issues with, you shy away from it because you too shy and embarrassed to look like one of them niggas in front of all these white folks. He marked that nigga out and then turned his TV off. That is a mark out of legendary Because the thing about it is it's not about it being ghetto. It's not about it being whatever you want to try to use, whatever terminology. It's about really as a man standing on all 10 toes on what you stood for. And in a period of time where people are trying their best to look like one another, sound like one another, make music like one another, isn't it finally relieving to see a man stand on his own principle? I entered this conversation because I think it's going to help you have a little bit more context of what I'm talking about. There's a difference between trying to achieve popularity and trying to achieve something a bit different. Peep this out. This is from an account called Conflictish. Listen to this message.
Do you want to be popular or prominent? Because prominence is painful. Like if you're going to lead, you have to have the courage to be disliked. If you're going to be successful, you have to have the courage to be misunderstood. And if you're going to champion change, you have to have the courage to be criticized. Because here's the truth, or at least what I've come to see as the truth. People who have never sacrificed for a dream will tell you how to give up on yours.
What you should have did was these songs right here. What you should have did was, man, lean off all of the theatrics, bro. Just do the songs. Like, the people are there to be entertained, bro. Forget whatever message you got, bro. You're not thinking like you got to really do this the right way. How many of them folks ever did a Super Bowl? I'll wait.
People who have never built anything will tell you what to build. Unsuccessful people will tell you how to spend your money, and people without a platform will challenge your platform.
Hello. I see that every day.
The biggest reasons that people shrink back from leadership, from success, or from change is that they're afraid of standing in the tension of being unliked, unappreciated, unpopular, or uncomfortable. They want growth without resistance, influence without opposition, progress without discomfort. But you cannot stand out and stand still at the same time.
It is Sunday, right? It is Sunday, right? We can have a good word. It is Sunday, right? Okay. You can't stand out and stand still. And it feels like, without blaming one individual, right? Because I think he's just a symptom of another problem, which has been amplified by a lot of these corporate entities and a lot of these labels who have found music that pacifies, right? Even the streaming platforms has made sure they've rewarded mediocrity. Give us more quantity instead of quality, okay? All of that does is make people feel like it is uncool to try. This is going to be a long video because I got another one that I want to show you, because I think that's also at the root why so many young listeners who are choosing to be contrarian, I think that's really at the heart of it, is that if this wins, I can't win being mediocre anymore. I have to actually learn something. I have to actually write. My freestyles are not good enough anymore to touch the people. How do I connect with the people when I've never seen an example of it, or I've ignored every example that I've seen of it outside of a Kendrick? What do? Oh, let me rebel, because that's what zombies do when you attack them. Continue.
You have to make a move. And if you're waiting for everyone to approve, agree, or applaud you before you make a move, you'll stay stuck right where you are. You'll get what everybody else gets because you'll be doing what everybody else does. Look, leadership is lonely. Success is grueling, and change is painful. But if you're going to make a difference, you have to be willing to be different.
I love that message, man. Round of applause for that, for sure. For sure. And unironically, I've seen a lot of the biggest criticisms, at least on my timeline, come from younger music listeners. And my thing is, if you come to me with common sense, I'll respond with common sense. If you come to me and the first thing on your mind is an eggplant and deriding and glazing, you're not at a place in life for me to have a grown man conversation with you. You've already showed me that you're in a completely different stage of life, right? Which also, by the way, when you look up the term homoerotic, it's really interesting that it's not a permanent decision to like somebody of the same sex. Homoeroticism is just the brain flirting with the idea of it. And it's insane to me that people I have never met before, and this is no hate on anybody's preference in here. I love you for being you. But there's gentlemen that are convinced out here that they are straight males, but the first thing that comes to mind are those things that I mentioned, glazing and the D's. They're saying all these things that I think are showing me the inner conflict that they're having with these homoerotic thoughts. I know it's just a phrase to them. I know it's just a joke to them. But when I see certain things, it makes me, I'm at a stage in life where I ask, why? I didn't always ask that when I was younger. I'm asking why now. That being said, I'm starting to dig into more content and try to understand where some of the younger listeners are coming from when they're like, man, I just can't stand Kendrick, man. I don't like this. I don't like this. I got this video here by a YouTuber named nickatnight.18 that's going viral right now, where he was, I guess, somebody who's been a long time Kendrick hater. He's a younger listener. And he's reacting to Good Kid, Mad City for the first time. And I think that even if this is just a performance, even if it is just entertainment, there's something to be said here. And I want to go ahead and expand upon it. So let me let him start it off and explain his stance.
You guys know I don't like Kendrick, but I've been told to react to this, and I'm going to go in with an open mind. What album do you think is Kendrick's best? Because I hear some people say Good Kid, Mad City, and I see some people say To Pimp a Butterfly. So let's get into it. Good Kid, Mad City.
So he goes on to play the album. We obviously can't do that, but I got a few timestamps here. So here is where he explains what his particular issues are and what they've been traditionally from before he listened to this project. Listen to this, which is, I think I've heard this critique many times of Kendrick.
Forgive me. I don't like the different voices that he does. I don't know. I like the beat though, but like the voices is just, I don't fuck with the voices.
Wow.
God forgive me.
So he listens more, and the deeper he gets in the project, we get to this stage. He's in full tears.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Now, what could bring him to tears like this? He's listening to Sing About Me Dying of Thirst, a very, 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 very serious song. Definitely gave me goosebumps the first time I heard it. But why is he crying?
Maybe because I'm a dreamer and sleep is the cousin of death, really stuck in the schema.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, bro.
The other side may come soon, and if I'm doomed, may the wound help my mother be blessed for many moons.
Last time I saw folks crying at a song at the same time, I saw a lot of women crying at the same time when Meet the Grams dropped. Because I think that for the first time, they saw Drake in a light of a man in their life or male figure that they could not stand. I highlighted that in the videos as well. Do you see the hypnotization is starting to happen, whether they like it or not? When I'm seeing, you know what's crazy? When I'm seeing like everyday blue collar white folks that don't really look like they're into hip hop too much, and I'm not making an assumption, I'm just looking and I'm seeing that's not traditionally what they've liked. When I see them doing all of these dances all of a sudden to Not Like Us, there's a part of me that laughs, and there's also a part of me that says, isn't that interesting? Oh, what did Dead Press say? So one thing about music, he said one thing about music, when it had to hit your soul, white folks say it controls your brain. I know better than that. That's game. It's something about when music that comes from a very soulful place. It's like when somebody prepares you a meal that was made with love versus somebody got you a Happy Meal or got you a value meal from McDonald's. There's a difference. When it hits your soul, it stays a little bit longer. When it hits your soul, it stops you in your place and has you thinking and reflecting on things that music that is here to pacify you won't necessarily do. Listen to what he says. Like I said, even if this is a theater piece, I think it's still a theater piece that is going to represent a lot of folks that are coming out of that hypnotization.
The vinyl, for sure. I need to get up the vinyl.
He wants to get the vinyl now.
I'm not joking. Like, this is literally one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life.
Interesting.
For real. All my life, I want money and power, respect my...
Somebody then goes to ask him, yo, what's the better album? Nothing Was the Same or Good Kid, Mad City? What does he say? As a Drake fan.
This or Nothing Was the Same? Stop it. Stop it right now. Good Kid, Mad City, easily. Stop. I can see why some people don't like Kendrick, and I can see why I didn't like Kendrick before either, because you kind of do have to sit down and listen. Like, if
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Ain't nothing fun. I get it. I know that I'm a different age group. I get it. Ain't nothing fun about having to sit down and think. Ain't nothing fun about, like, dog, we just trying to get the party lit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing. I get it, bro. You want to listen to music as a very passive experience. But you know what happens when you listen to music as a passive experience? Those who are creating the music and writing the lyrics can pass along to you ways of thinking that you may not agree with. You may not have been raised to think this way. They can also lull you into a sleep. They can pacify you. Why is a baby given a pacifier? So that they'll be quiet. Stop crying. Stop thinking. Just sit there and stop crying. Be quiet. And I think a lot of music has done that. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's, not ear candy. It's just that the function of it is not good for your soul. There's a lot of food from fast food right now that is just not good, but that shit bomb as hell. I know right now, if I want to get some Cane's, that shit will have me full, but it will not have me nourished. There's a difference when you go get that smoothie and you're like, damn, I got enough energy for the whole day, as opposed to going and getting a coffee. And I think what you're seeing is that when you allow music to be part of your medicinal practices, your medicine, when you allow the right music to hit your soul, it hits in a different way. It hits longer. Don't worry about all the other people around you that are not getting it. It's not for them right now. If you have been chosen, I think it's wise for you to do something about it. So I salute this young dude, because it's not easy, especially in this generation, to stand out and admit when you might have seen something from the wrong lens. This is once again nickatnight.18.
If most of his music is like what I just heard here, you gotta pay attention to what he's saying. But this album made me want to go further into his discography for sure.
Give the kids time. Give the kids time. Give them 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 time. Hey, give them time. Give these kids time. Give these kids time. 15 years has been a really long time. And it hasn't just been the music that has had them hypnotized. It is also the outdated curriculums of the schools that they attend. It is also the media that they tap into. It is also even the hip hop websites they go to are only concerned, or their major concern is the gossip and the drama. The movies they consumed have gone from having messages from directors like one of my favorite directors in a Spike Lee to being these action blockbuster films, and that's all that you have a choice of if you want to go see a movie. The clothing has even been dumbed down. In this age of minimalism, so much has happened in the name of trying to get ahead of our chaotic thoughts that has changed the way that we look at our own lives and our own effort, specifically when it comes to music and the arts. That's changing. That's what I mean when I say something's changing. It's not some woo. It's changing. I appreciate this gentleman here for making this video, because he put words to something that is in my brain, but I could not articulate it quite the way that he did. Nathan Zed has a video called How Trying Became Cool Again. Let's peep it out.
Wow, yeah, this is the most try-hard intro of all time. Just started like everyone else in front of a microphone, man. Okay, yeah, that's better. About a month ago, an artist named Doechii went viral for her talk show performance. This set had her and two other girls with elaborate hair, choreography, rapping really well. And the biggest tweet that came from this was, making those Harriet Tubman music is the cheat code for getting respected in rap. Now, this is an amazing tweet. This is just an amazing combination of words. This random assortment of words specifically chosen to piss people off. I gotta give it to you. This is a work of art. But this is part of an attitude that has been around for a while now. Don't do too much. This performance had nothing to do with politics, Harriet Tubman, slavery, nothing. She kind of just assumed that from the amount of effort that was being put in. Over time, it has become uncool to just try, like just to put in some effort. Don't do.
You know how many times I've heard that as an artist myself? Oh man, you're doing too much, bro. You need to chill out on all the content that you're doing, bro. Like, bro, like, let the people come to you. Be more mysterious. Be more magnetizing. And although I've seen some benefits in that, I've missed out on a lot of conversations that could have been had if I just put myself out there and been cringe for a minute. If I just put myself out there and was bold enough to try something. Yesterday's an example of it. There were some people who were angry about me doing the performance piece I did on the new Drake project. I'm not here to impress you. My goal is not popularity. My goal is prominence. Continue, though.
Too much, okay? It's embarrassing. Just be nonchalant, be cool, be effortless. This has made everything boring. Everyone is too scared to try because that would be vulnerable. And I feel like only now are we seeing a shift back to people putting in effort and being rewarded for it. But more on that later. How did we even get here in the first place? Because it wasn't always like this. Mozart, Michelangelo, the Hawk Tour girl. Every generation has their great.
I wasn't expecting that. That shit came out of nowhere. The Hawk Tour girl.
But it feels like over time we're giving people more credit for being nonchalant than for doing things well. Like, just imagine if the Talk Tour podcast was created in the Byzantine Empire. We're holding her back. It's crazy to see this contrast between the last 10 years and then the last, like, 100 to 1,000 years. Even just the 2000s. The 2000s were the definition of not being afraid to do the most.
Yeah.
Loud, maximalist, unapologetic self-expression. Everything is in your face, over the top, colorful, has personality. Bro, even things that were corporate didn't feel soulless or generic. Things were allowed to be weird or cringe. The internet was the Wild West, man. You know,
is it me or did y'all feel a little bit more alive during that time? Did it feel like life was just in general a lot more lively and not so hell-bent on minimalism? Like, when I see all of those images and videos, it feels like the movies were, and maybe I'm just aging myself, that's fine too, but it's like, didn't it feel like you were full of more life? And think about how it is today. That's why these moments, like the Super Bowl, are so crucial, because it's like they're so scarce if you don't create them for yourself. Thank God I can make music, but I can't imagine what it's like for somebody who was not able to surround themselves with the vibrancy of that time.
before everything became content, you could create whatever you wanted. You could do whatever you wanted. It was a little too much. You might have had to reel it in. And we did. Because suddenly in the mid-2010s, everything shifted. And I don't know when exactly this was. I remember the exact moment I noticed it, and that was in 2016 when the Life of Pablo album cover came out, and I was like, so this is where we're at now. We didn't even try. And that was the aesthetic. The whole deal in the mid-2010s was trying to look effortless, which is an oxymoron in itself. And you're an oxymoron if you tried it. Everything was redesigned to look more simple, AKA boring, bruh. Just straight up soulless.
You know how many logos piss me off? Being in 7-Eleven, can't find that damn thing because y'all want to be sexy and minimal. Put your clothes back on. Pringles, put your clothes back on. I ain't even gonna say change your logo no more. Put your clothes back on. Take me back to the days of Sprite Remix. Yeah. Take me back. What is this shit? What is this? You want some Pringles? Head ass.
It's the same monotonous, no personality vibe. In the last 10 years, every movie started looking dim, dark, flat. Every movie has that Netflix look, bruh. In relationships, we became so detached. Everyone became so nonchalant. Dating now is a competition of who can care less the most. Wow. It's also why you're in your 8th situationship in the last 12 months. I'm not hating, I'm just...
Thank God I'm married. Oh my God, thank God I'm married.
Notice every day another tweet goes viral about how we gotta bring back real yearning. Where are the real yearners at? We gotta bring back that level of yearn. Oh, that was mine. Okay. That sentiment has been around for a while. We miss actually feeling like we can put ourselves out there. But the thing is, nobody wants to be seen as a try-hard. And that's like the only insult that could also be a motivational quote. It's like if I called you a keep going, don't stop, you got this. Look at this don't stop right here, bro.
So this is what I'm getting at. The reason why we're watching this video, we're going to watch the whole thing, but the reason we're watching this video is because my conclusion after watching this is that this is also a major part of the problem. There are rappers, there are producers who don't want to produce. There's rappers who don't want to rap. They want to be rock stars. Producers, they don't want to produce. They want to just loop everything together and have AI create as much as they can for them so they can just wear the title without doing the work. There are people that want to be seen as musicians even though they don't actually want to learn music theory. You know how many times when I was mentoring producers, I heard somebody say, do I have to learn music theory? That's like saying, I know I can drive a car right now, but do I need to go to driving school? I mean, it'll help. Depending on where you're at, it might help to know what you're driving and how to drive it. We've entered an age where not only do people seem to be too lazy to learn and go through the grueling steps, but they also feel like they're embarrassed to do it in front of other people because they're going to look stupid. Well, here's the reality of it. Before you get good, you have to be stupid. You are stupid. That's okay. Stick around long enough, they'll be calling you a genius. They'll be calling you educated. They'll be calling you somebody who, damn, I knew it from day one. My boy just had the dedication. But you got to go through the hell first in order to, you got to dig through the dirt to get to the gold. Hello.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Continue.
Don't get this, don't stop. Look what he's doing. He's not stopping, bro. What is he? But I think there's a difference between trying hard because you want to and trying hard to impress other people. We had social media for a while, but it's only recently where it feels like everyone feels like everyone is looking at them. So everyone's standing up straight, trying to be perfect. All eyes are on you. That's why every party looks like this now, where everyone's afraid to move at all. Instagram feels like LinkedIn, curating the literal peaks of your life to share. Trying to understand this new landscape where anyone can be made fun of for doing anything. You can be minding your business in public, you do something a little bit off, and now, yeah, you check Twitter, that video is on friggin' 8 million people's timelines, and you're getting cooked. So the last thing you want is to be seen trying or failing at something. Everyone is walking on eggshells. Artists became nonchalant.
Stella just said it. Stella said it's cringe for people to just live life. Oh, boy. Enjoy life. It's cringed for you to enjoy life. How dare you? When you say it like that, I hope it feels silly to some people in here that you're doing that. There's only room in your casket when you eventually pass away for you. Nobody's going to cozy up in there with you. And all you will be left with are the things that you had the courage to do and the things that you were too afraid to do because of the people who probably didn't even attend your funeral. I hate to be so morbid, but you realize most people that you meet probably won't go to your funeral. There was a stat that somebody did in a book called, what was that book called? I'll get it later for you. But the quote was basically saying, the research basically said that 50 to 60% of people that go to your funeral will leave before you get buried if it starts raining. It was a ridiculous number, like 60 to 70% won't even cry at your funeral. Who are you living your life for? Who are you afraid of embarrassing yourself in front of? Somebody who won't even honor you on your last day? Sit with that one for a second.
Be mocked if it doesn't sell well. In music, we traded elaborate rollouts, cool visuals for mysterious vibes. And aura. I've had enough aura, all right? We get it. We don't know what you're up to. Post the dang songs. It became more attractive in relationships to be nonchalant. Why try if you'll be hurt if you put yourself out there?
You need to ignore her, bro. If you ignore her and don't talk to her, don't text her for a week, you're gonna be amazed.
I would never take advice from somebody that looks like this. You look tired. Like that car stank. He ain't got no color in his eyes. What are dots? What iris? People really be sitting here taking this advice like, yeah, man, that's how I get the girls. Don't hit nobody back. What? I'm sorry. I'm just being petty.
What happens next?
If you're just chill, man, it's like you have nothing to lose. But we have robbed ourselves of the joy of expressing ourselves to the fullest extent. Even right now, somebody could be like, oh my gosh, this guy's doing too much. What is he talking about? He's in these runs. I don't care. I'm not limiting my enjoyment of life just so other people won't think I'm enjoying life too much. Like, come on. Y'all are not enjoying life enough for me. I'm sorry. The irony is the look of nonchalance takes so much effort that you might as well just try, bruh.
I gotta give you a real round of applause for that one. The amount of trying that not looking like you're trying takes is ridiculous. Have you ever seen, ladies and gentlemen, I know you have you ever seen those vlogs where somebody's doing like a vlog of their day? Have you ever thought about this for a second? When somebody gets the camera and they like set it up on a tripod and they set it up and they like, take this down. All right, let me reframe this. Okay. Damn Damn, the camera fell. Okay, hold on. Have you ever thought about that's just to open up the video? Have you ever thought about when they go in the public and they're trying to show like they got a cameraman, but it's just them, and they open up the door of their car, but they got to set up a tripod and get back in the car to look like they're getting out the car? Have you ever thought the amount of work that it takes for them to go inside the Starbucks, set the tripod up of them walking past the door, go get the tripod, break it down, get the Starbucks, and then go back outside to set the tripod up again to get in the car? You do all this shit to make it seem like you don't put no effort in. Nigga, that's effort. In the wrong damn place. My wife had to bring that down because like she's really a social media, you know what I'm saying? Like she knows her social media, and she was like, damn, that's just a lot of work just to vlog your day. And you don't want to look stupid. I think you messed up already. Good God.
You already are. And I think people are getting tired of this nonchalance, and we're finally seeing a shift. The pendulum is swinging back. Artists are finally putting themselves out there more and getting rewarded for it. Like just a couple of years ago, DJ Khaled was saying Tyler the Creator makes mysterious music.
It's called albums that you actually hear the song.
That's why y'all better not ever compare me to this nigga ever again. Don't you ever call me, hey Curtis, you kind of look like we the best. Don't you ever do that again. When he said this shit, I said it's a line in the sand. Nope. Hell no. And the fact that he outweighs me by about 200, 300 pounds.
Mysterious shit.
What?
You never hear it.
This is one of the funniest terms because it's a mystery to me how DJ Khaled is allowed to make music. Tyler was offbeat. He was weird. It's not really the type of music that you hear at barbershops. But that's fine. Can that not exist? And now with Chromacopia, we got to see a refreshing, dope rollout in a time when people announce music and it doesn't come out for months to years. The album was announced. There was real world building. The colors, the characters, the sounds were distinct. This guy's actually putting in effort, man. This is what I'm talking about. The bare minimum. That's all I need. And he sold 300K first week.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Do you understand what I mean when I say the tide is changing? It's been changing. This is not something that just happened because of a battle. Stop minimalizing it to just this moment. This has been. That was an amplifying. That was gasoline draws for sure. It's happening, and the people are showing that they want this change with their pockets. Why couldn't Tyler be at the Super Bowl? Because if he was invited, because he's on tour, successful tour. So 300,000 copies in a streaming, you know what I'm saying? In an era that's dominated by so many things outside of selling music. And he did it making the music that he wants to make. That's very different. Making his version of hit songs, creating worlds, building. We did a whole marketing video on this because it was genius. The rollout was. He's doing him, and guess what? Because he's been around long enough since before shit got this minimal, he knows what it's like. He is inspired by the Pharrells and the NERDs who did it different. He's inspired by all the R&B artists that did it different. So now when you look at this, it's like, oh, if I actually just try, maybe I can get some rewards that nobody else can get because they're not willing to try. What a concept.
His biggest album yet. More than any album DJ Khaled has ever sold.
Yee! Heavy on the clocket. Did you just say that Tyler the Creator's old weird music making ass, the ones you can't play in the barbershops, you mean to tell me they might be playing in the barbershops even more so than Khaled ever? I know they ain't who I think it is. Oh, man.
Like, look at all the pop stars of the last year. We finally got, like, a pop renaissance. These are all artists that have literally grinded for, like, 10 plus years. And that's why I feel so much more earned to see them win. Artists like Chappell Roan taking pop back to being elaborate and maximalistic. Is that a word? I don't know. Doing the most in the best way. This is what I'm talking about, Brian. I need y'all. This is pop music. Y'all know where this came from. Why is everybody trying to act too cool for this? You have to be out there. You have to be interesting. And I feel like we're getting back to that. Even with how minimalistic Brat was and the whole Brat summer movement, Charlie XCX was putting in a ton of work, bruh. People got so tired of Drake not really feeling like he's trying at all to the point where they were rooting against him in the beef. And Kendrick actually putting in effort into his lyrics, into his love for the art form, made it easier to want this guy to win. And that,
you know what's so funny? What is a great example? You can put it in a dictionary of this era and the difference between a Kendrick and a Drake. I can sum it up in 2 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many stocks do I really got in stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. You're just doing too much. Oh, nigga.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
That, in a nutshell, is the difference. It's good to get the pen back working, is what Drake said on the Heart Part 6, the fake one. Kendrick said, I not only have 10 in stock for your ass, I got a whole GNX album to follow it up. There's a difference between doing the bare minimum to keep people pacified, creating a team around you that makes you look like you're working a lot harder than you actually are in terms of your actual art development. There's a difference between that and somebody like Kendrick, who has been trained from day one, seasoned since day one, by the Punches of the world, by the Top Dogs of the world, by his peers, by the Ab-Souls, challenged by the Ab-Souls around him, the J-Rocks, the Schoolboys, to make the best possible music he could. That's a different environment than somebody who's always been the boss of his environment in terms of his crews, the folks that he's working with. It's very different. You see it by the results of the people in his crew and what they have done, in particular in the genre of rap. I'm not talking about The Weeknd. I'm not talking about Party Next Door. I'm not talking about singing. I'm talking about in rap. That is the difference. What he's explaining in his video, you saw it just in those 2 lines alone. It's 2 lines of thinking. And we got to try our best not to be baited by the other one of mediocrity and not doing shit.
Effort took him all the way to the dang Super Bowl and winning 5 Grammys in one night. People are valuing real things again. Barbenheimer got all these people to come out and watch 2 movies on the same day just because these 2 directors put in more effort than we're used to in recent big blockbusters. We went from a movie like Nacho Libre looking like this to every $200 million blockbuster looking like this.
We got snowmen. Get that cone out of my face.
Barbie with the colorful sets, Oppenheimer with the dang scale, the epicness of the IMAX camera. They both felt like they were made by real people, not algorithms. But one thing stands in the way of all this. None of this is real. We're cooked. With AI, this is like the end game of no effort. This is like it doesn't really get...
Stay with us before you clock out. I know it's your least favorite word in here. We said it again. If it ain't Allen Iverson, y'all ain't hearing it. Hear him out.
Farther than this. Like, you really just study for 8 hours when I just got ChatGPT to do it for me? Good use of your time, Timmy. All right, I'll see you in there. We're gonna do a little surgery on this guy, right? We're getting rid of human voices, faces, thoughts, just so we can save some time. But the best things that have ever been produced on this earth were by human beings that had to actually think, dig deep down, and come up with solutions to problems. Are we gonna just lose that part of ourselves to save some time?
No, I'm gonna tell you this. I think that it's going to backfire. I think some people are going to be replaced, and I've said this before, people who have leaned their entire life in business on mediocrity. They have not spent their time in the gym. They have not tried to get better. They've just tried to continue their mediocrity. They will be replaced because there's no need for you to continue mediocrity. Machines can do that for you. I do believe that artists are going to become better versions of artists because of the clerical responsibilities that some of the artists will put on AI, right? And there's different types of AI that we can talk about. What I'm saying is this whole generation of art, I'm not concerned about that. I think that even you talked about Kanye. I think that he's at a place right now where he's prioritized what people are polarized by more than the art itself. I don't listen to the art that he does and see effort anymore. I see a continuation of a level of mediocrity that he's okay with because he's already accomplished the things he's wanted to accomplish. It's just my opinion. I see him leaning more on the controversy. So when I'm thinking about artists that are moving forward, I think that they're going to be evolutions of artists that we've never seen before. Why? Because they can spend more time with music than they've ever done before. Remember, Childish Gambino was talking about how bad of an actor Elvis was, and he assumed that was because he didn't have time to work on his acting chops because he had to record music, and music at the time took significantly longer to record, right? We're talking about, we're not talking about traditional. We're talking about Old school recording took a long ass time. Had he had more time to focus on that, maybe that becomes better. I'm looking at this era right now. If anything, I think that the people are going to always choose up. And the people in general who are putting their money where their mouth is, I think they're going to fiend in the same way that we've gone through now 15 years of this minimalist approach. They're going to fiend something real. Please tell me there's no GMOs in this. Please tell me there's no AI in this. Please tell me that this is... I got to come see you play the keys because I don't know if it's real. Maybe we see a resurgence in live bands and live shows in a way we've never seen with the mixture of technology now taking care of the responsibilities of the lighting. Responsibilities of how to promote the said show so that we can attract more people to be at that show. That's maybe, a very supremely optimistic and crazy way to look at it. But the way that I'm looking at it, I don't get fearful of fucking AI. I'm not going to have it touching my music. But I will have it be the reason I can spend more time with my music. That's just my opinion, though. I'm not trying to impose it. I have not brought up AI because I know that's a very soft spot for a lot of y'all.
Probably. I think we're shifting, and I think it's going to shift even harder because people want the real, bro. I think we're going to fight not by trying to beat AI, but by trying to be even more human. That's how you cut through these days. Everything feels so fake and corporate and low effort that even just caring about what you do feels different. Everyone wants to seem effortless, but the thing is, you have to try hard to get good enough at something to make it seem effortless. One of my favorite stories is Miles Davis improvising a film score in real time, like watching the movie, playing the trumpet in one night. The whole score is done. But that didn't happen because this guy was like, bro, let's just get this over with, bro. Let me just get in there, man. It took him thousands of hours of honing that craft to make that even possible for me to be telling you about it right now.
I think about rappers that get in these booths and they like, I don't even want to sit down to write anymore. And although it could be a really great hack for your workflow, how do you know that you're improving upon your vocabulary? How do you know that you're improving upon your lyrical tools? And why does that matter? Because now people are asking for music that makes them feel something. No longer do they want to hear you go through I hate to put out Ice Spice, but my life was your dog. How to beat bog. Went to the park. How to get deep. How to get full. How to go top. How to go bottom. How to go loud. How to go soft. How to go hard. How to go talk. That's not going to do it anymore, even for the younger demographic that you're aiming at too. They want something they can feel. They want something that gives them the feeling that we just saw throughout this entire battle. I got one more video I'm going to show you after this, really short, but let's keep on cooking.
People are just trying to skip 50 steps now and just get to the effortless part. But let's be real. You might take an L for trying. You might waste your time. You might look stupid. And that's scary. But if you actually put your all into it just because you wanted to, you can stand on that. There's more regret in hiding behind the shield of, oh, well, I didn't even try, so it's okay that it failed. That inspires nobody. That produces nothing cool.
That part.
Except you get to help your ego. That's it. Is that what we're doing all this for? Is that why we're here? No. The reality is, we're all just scared. All right? It's fear. Is what it is. You're scared. We can't live life behind this fear, bro. We can't create art behind this fear. We can't have real relationships behind this fear. You can't even read a book these days in public without somebody telling you you're not a vibe, bro. I wasn't trying to be a vibe. I was just trying to read the freaking Post-COVID, we are starved for connection. We're starved for authenticity. That's what I'm gonna try to do here. That's what you should try to do in your everyday life. And we can actually try to have fun on this earth instead of acting too cool to have fun, okay? I gotta clean this up now.
I love that. I love it. Round of applause for him. Nathan Zed. I'll link the video after the end of this. Check out these children in Uganda. Check out these children in Uganda who got inspired by the performance today, or the performance on last Sunday. The caption here reads, "They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. You also can't fake hard work." And if somebody sees all this attention, if a younger artist or younger creative sees all this attention and they're like, damn, how can that be me one day? I think at some point they're going to realize it's going to take quality over quantity, and then get so good that you're able to deliver that quality in quantity. I think too many people have prioritized mere quantity, and they're not getting the same results that they're seeing Kendrick getting right now. And it's got them looking different about their approach. He's doing the numbers. He's winning the awards. He's playing the biggest stage. And he's got these kids from Uganda going crazy. I thought it was dope. Peep this out.
Oh no! It's a cultural divide. I'ma get it on the floor.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
They get on it like that.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding,
hey,
I'm riding
hey,
like
hey.
What's that on the beat, bro? He a freak though, man down, front like Ember Lambs. Tell him breathe.
Oh no!
So what you think? What you think? I see some of the Kendrick haters was in here earlier. You still think it's bots?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
You said bots?
Huh?
You said bots?
Huh?
You said bots?
Huh?
How you bot that? Oh, that's AI?
Huh?
Yeah, that's AI, huh?
No, they not like us. No, they not like us. They not like us. No, they not like us. No, they not like.
I'm sorry that you've been in a world the majority of your life, your adulthood, your teenhood that has lied to you about what is real. You finally felt something real, and you're rejecting it, and it makes sense. It makes sense. You finally figured out the soap that you were using wasn't actually cleaning you. It just made you smell good. You've been using Axe your whole life. And you've never even looked at a bar of soap a day in your life. Then you use a bar of soap and realize how many layers of crud and dirt you got existing on your arms, your legs. And then you start to think of things differently. But no. First, you got to rebel. You got to get angry. There's no way that people was lying to me. No, the problem is y'all are just too clean. That's not a vibe. You're too clean. First, these are stages. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not be confused. These are stages of grief. They're going through it. There's anger. There's denial. There's the coping. They're going through it. I think it's wise, DIYers, to let them go through it in peace. I'm not going to engage with them. I'm not going to educate them. I'm just going to look at them and scream, he needs some milk. He needs some milk.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
When they walk up to me and they say, all right, bro, I think I'm really ready to hear about this culture shit y'all be talking about. Hey, break it down for me. I'm going to tell them, nigga, no. Hey, yo, chat. DIYers, those are my thoughts. You let me know what you think. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.